Welcome to the Momentum Podcast, where we feature founders and industry leaders who are bold, brilliant, and built to last. I'm Theresa Bassett, author, speaker, and CEO of the Diamond Group, an SMB sales and marketing agency. I'm here to share real stories and strategies from founders and leaders breaking through to their next level. I love helping small businesses grow. My mission: to help entrepreneurs just like you build sustainable, scalable businesses that align with your purpose and create lasting impact. On this show, we sit down with small business owners, growth stage founders, and change makers who are navigating the messy middle of scaling. Episodes typically run about 30 to 40 minutes, packed with insights, practical takeaways, and raw conversations. Let's get into it. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to the Momentum Podcast, where we talk to real live business owners who are growing and scaling the distance. And this is all about a 6, 7, 8-figure journey. Today we've got, I'm just so excited to have Beth Melcher here with us with a financial services firm out of Traverse City, Michigan, called MoneyFit. And Beth and I have had the pleasure of knowing each other for several years. But Beth, I realized this morning as I was preparing for this, this is such a cool opportunity for me to just dive a little bit deeper with your story. So, we've got so many listeners. I'm really blessed to say we have over a half a year's content already lined up. And,
That's great. Good for you guys.
entrepreneurs just need to hear from folks like you that are out building businesses. And I'm just so excited for you to share your story with them today.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it so much. And for those people who are listening, Theresa has been a wonderful advisor to me for how long has it been? Like 5 years at least?
Yeah, I think we're going on year 6, 2019. I think we met, which is feels kind of like another lifetime ago, but also like just yesterday in some
I
ways.
know everything pre-COVID seems like it was a different chapter
I
entirely.
I know. And actually, you're bringing up a great point. So many things have changed, and there's been so many new challenges for business owners over the last several years. So, well, tell our listeners what you do, what fires you up and gets you up in the morning. Who do you serve, and why do you love serving them?
Oh, well, thanks for the question. MoneyFit has been serving small business owners since about 2010. And if you go back in my history, I have studied economics. I have a strategic planning and marketing MBA from Case Western Reserve, but also my undergrad is I was an English major, an English literature major, and my mom said rightly, I better study economics also or I'd never get a job. And I didn't expect at all that economics would be my future. So she was 100% right. And I started working for a bank, learned what good financials were all about, and became a lender. Started meeting small business owners who had amazing passion for their business, their products, and their service. But this whole financial piece
Yeah.
was a mystery. Numbers can be super overwhelming. And I just watched people who otherwise would be so passionate about what they do deflate when it came to that side of their business. So the I think the English literature side in me and the economic side came together, and it was really clear. I mean, even Warren Buffett says that he says accounting is the language of finance. I say that finance is the language of business. So we're a little bit different on that, but it's true. And as soon as we talk to small business owners and we help them understand that they've already learned how to speak different languages, they can communicate with a child or a plant even or a pet without having to use English in order to respond. So as much as they think those new business owners or the small business owners think they can't figure out a new language or communicate with their business, we can kind of tear down those barriers and show them that they can understand what's going on in their business. They can speak the language of finance and be better leaders for their company. They just open up, they embrace it, and they lead in ways they haven't been able to before. So that's what
That's
blows my hair back for sure.
Oh, I love that so much. So, what do you think makes it so scary for people? Like, what do you see stands between them and those numbers initially? Is it just that it's a whole new language and they feel like it's daunting, or what do you think it is?
People say things like I'm really bad at math. I think they think financials are complicated, but at the end of the day, it's plus minus times divide. I think that taxes are very confusing. Tax law is very confusing, and people don't like tax, but finance and running a business are very different than tax. I also think that a lot of people in my industry haven't learned how to talk to business owners in the way they need to talk about numbers. We tend to slide into jargon, words like depreciation or,
Yeah, that
you
makes
know,
sense. There is really a whole different language, right? That words that can be overwhelming.
and there's a friend of mine named Holly who talks about people's relationship with money. Some people are really emotional about money overall, and it might be from the personal side of their life.
Mhm.
Maybe they grew up struggling with money, and so it becomes a very scary topic, and it can make you feel like you're out of control. So I think by making it a little, it's almost like, the scariest part about being worried about a monster under your bed is actually just looking under the bed. Like right
Mhm.
before you pick up the sheet to look under is scary, but once you lift it and look under, there's nothing to be afraid of.
It's so true. So do you see small business owners operating like that? The kind of like one eye shut, like driving the bus, but really not wanting to look at the financials. Like the P&L is like over here, and like everything
Absolutely.
else is over here.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we had one. I mean, for me, it's like stepping on the scale in the morning. That is the last thing, but the number is still going to be the number, whether I get on the scale or not. But for sure, I mean, I'm menopause. Holy cow, the number definitely changed. So I think they are afraid of what they're going to see, but once you look, you can do something about it. I mean, there's one person we worked with ages ago. She was getting notifications from the IRS and just putting them under her bed. And we said, and I think that's why I think about the monster under the bed, because
Yeah,
she was
that's a monster under your bed right there.
for
I
real.
don't want the IRS under my bed.
No, for sure. But it was just open it.
Mhm.
And it turns out, at least in Michigan, if you go to the IRS office and just talk to the people who are there, they'll work with you and they'll be really nice about it. So if you look at your numbers, it's you can plan and you can work through any challenge or advantage you see in the numbers. You just have to put your arms around it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that just debunking that for business owners and giving them somebody to partner with to take a look at the scary, take that peek underneath the bed. That's got to be really empowering for you and your team to see the change in people when they do look.
It's uh when you hang out with someone who's really fired up about something, if you come in a crummy mood, they're they light up, and it is very intoxicating hanging out with someone who at one point in time thought they couldn't do it and then figure out that they can do it. It is it's exciting for me to watch someone else do something they had never done before and face a fear. So uh, I get a huge kick out of it. And also, I love watching because I get to watch their numbers change. So it's not just a matter of looking at the numbers, it's a matter of teaching them how to change what is going to happen with their numbers if they just look and plan and manage some of the small decisions they make. That's super fun because then you watch the net profit change over time and then they can really start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be amazing. Well, you said the magic word, I think planning. To your point, if business owners aren't looking at the numbers, then it's very hard to plan or forecast or understand or have any degree of predictability. And even if the story isn't exactly what you want it to add up to, just being empowered with information is half the battle. So if you had, I guess, one message that our listeners could take away from this, from that perspective, what would you want business owners to know or to think about when they leave this?
Keep it simple.
Mhm,
It's not it's not about planning absolutely every dollar and being perfect.
mhm.
It's not about being perfect. It's about how much am I bringing in? How much is going out? And I need to hold on to more than I'm pushing out the door in cash. And if you can just make your plan really easy, So what you need to know, whether you're selling a product or a service, is what am I selling and what am I charging for it? How much does it cost for me to deliver that thing?
Hmm.
What is my overhead? And do I have anything left? And is that enough to support me if indeed you are living on the profit of your company? You can't draw out, of course, more than your company's making. But if you can simplify that
Hmm.
and just look at it once a week, make the plan and track how you're doing, um, the easier the plan, the easier it is to manage.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and what you're talking about in terms of just really simplifying it and getting down to profit, what's left at the end of the day in terms of cash, the more cash staying in, then more cash going out the door.
mhm,
Obviously, if you're selling a widget and it's got a fixed cost to produce, it's a little easier to calculate what that margin is. I think you said something kind of magical. Service-based businesses, especially owners of those service-based businesses, they've got a lot of moving parts to calculating, what is their profit? How do they keep that simple? Do you see nuances or challenges there in service-based businesses that you don't see exactly in product-based businesses?
I do. They're definitely different. I think the hardest thing that business owners have when it comes to tracking the profitability of a service company is to encourage your employees to track their time by project and
Mhm.
by overhead time. I was just talking about this before got on the podcast, but it seems overwhelming sometimes for the employees to do that, but part of their job is tracking their time. You will never know how much labor you're spending on a project and if you're charging enough for the project unless you can track the time that goes into it. If you can get your arms around that using a really simple tool, just a timekeeping tool or even a piece of paper, but tie the time to the job or to overhead, and then you can track your profitability much better.
I love that. And that kind of seems like an advanced stage. Like if when you just start out in business, you're just so busy worrying about having a client or a customer to connect with, delivering the service, making sure they have a good experience with it. I'm sure time tracking and some of those efficiencies that you're talking about in terms of really being able to track your labor, you probably don't see that in early stage revenue companies as much as you see in those that have been around for a little while.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They do end up tracking it more by month. How much did we spend this month? How much did I pay people this month? Um, People often forget. The only thing is, I'd say even if you're really small and really new and you're tracking your labor, don't forget paying your payroll tax. If you're also tracking the labor by employees, if you have employees and not subcontractors. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all of this, I could see where it's just so daunting for small business owners. And I, like you, I talk to a lot of business owners every day. Now I'm talking to them from the sales and marketing side, but even, knowing how to price their product and service, knowing how to package those things, right? It all comes back to that. And you've said something to me in the past, I mean, many different times, talking about, democratizing the language of finance and just giving
Hmm.
business owners lift by making that language approachable. So, what do you have looking, when you look into your future in terms of making that approachable for people, what are you looking forward to in your business over the next, year ahead? What kinds of initiatives are you working on to stay in momentum and growth?
Oh, and I love that you're smiling at me because you totally know what the answers are.
No, no, I
You've nailed
probably
it.
don't know
Yeah,
all of
no.
them. Yeah.
Well, we're really lucky. We just brought in a wonderful new employee, and she started with us last week. We are one looking to go from being generalists because we do financial advisory services for in the past almost anyone who's asked us to. I live in a smaller town, and I'm a sucker, so I always say yes because I want to help anybody I can. But we want to be great at a few things instead of pretty good at a lot of things. So as we dive deeper into a couple industries, probably won't go into which ones those are quite yet, but as we go more deeply into a couple of industries, I want to really develop that expertise so we can go up a level in the expertise we're delivering to those business owners. And then the other initiative that I'm excited about, besides moving into a new location, is there's a whole group of individuals. I call them like the DIY CFOs, the people who are absolutely brand new. They haven't, they can't hire a bookkeeper. They certainly can't outsource to a CFO. They don't have a choice but to embrace their financials. And they're working all day long selling their service or product. And then at night, they're going, holy cow, I've got to get to my books. And they're alone at 11 o'clock at night. And I think being a business owner is lonely. So,
Hmm.
because you have to act cool and tough all the time, you've got your employees and your vendors and your customers, you got to act like you know what you're doing. And so you feel awkward asking anyone any questions. So, if we can create a community, open our door, I want to call it Books Club, I think is
Awesome.
the working name for it. It's just invite those new business owners or the small business owners in so they can work side by side. They can ask each other questions, they can be accountable to each other, and then provide some stability. Because right now in the world, we're so apart. We
Yeah.
work from home and we're on social media where things aren't really real. How can we create real? How can we create authenticity? How can we create community? So I'm looking forward to building that out in the next 2 quarters.
Oh, I love that idea. And, the community, that kind of concept that you're describing, I think you're right. Like, this world is just so ripe for opportunities to get out from behind the screen and go talk to real humans.
I
You
know.
know, oh, imagine that, in a room together. But what you said, really resonates with me. So many people, they don't get to the book side of their business until 11 o'clock at night, and they really are alone.
Hmm.
And then to your point, money is a sticky widget too, in that if you're supposed to know everything about being in business, you especially don't want to talk to people about money, right?
Right.
Because not only is it scary to look at the monsters under your bed, like that's the one thing that you should have going for you.
Right. Well, interestingly, I met with a small business owner not that long ago, and she has a very well-known large business in town. And she admitted to me, I don't want to tell anybody this, but I have no idea what my numbers are saying. I'm just counting the cash.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or
And I could
shame.
see where that would be shame. Is that what the word
She
you
was
used?
describing shame.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I know that shame is like the lowest form of emotion. Like doesn't get much harder to unsilo yourself than if you're feeling shame around something. So I love what you're talking about, just giving people an approachable way to link arms with one another, make it a safe space to ask questions. And, honestly, that in and of itself has a huge value.
I hope
So,
so.
so how, if people wanted to learn more about your services, you said you're in a small town, how would they find out about how to plug into Books Club or how to communicate with you and your team? Like, how would they find you?
Email is one way, first of all, but the best way, I'll say second. My email, you can find us at info@bemoneyfit.com. That's BEMONEY, F is in Frank, IT.com, info@bemoneyfit.com. But what I also have at bemoneyfit.com is a new, amazing, spectacular website that was built
Woo!
by the Diamond Group. It is, I can't even tell you. I've got people from tech companies calling me because they want my firm to use their software, and they look at the website and they say, who did this? Who did this
Oh,
website? So I'm just so proud to show it. But if you go to the website, you can connect with us that way as well. There's a whole description. If you click on services, you can see the services that we offer there.
well, that's awesome. Well, because I do personally know a little bit about your momentum and your growth trajectory, I just want to say I'm so happy to see how Money Fit, how you have from the inside out just charged up the mission of Money Fit and continued to recreate the next level of what that looks like. And I think for business owners out there that you're talking about that are siloed, that might feel shame around their business, or it might feel daunting, or it just might feel scary to look at the things lurking underneath the bed or in the books. Um, the encouragement that you offer, I think, to business owners, and just hearing that you are creating opportunities for people to come out of those silos.
I hope
And
so.
you yourself creating new levels of growth and opportunity within your business. That's not easy to do. all the time. So
It's scary. Yeah. It's
yeah,
scary.
I'm super excited for you and for MoneyFit, and the new digital doorstep or the refreshed doorstep is just a piece of it. But I guess that's another question I would love for you to leave our listeners with. Like, how do you keep yourself charged up as a business owner over the years? Because you've been doing this now for, more than 5 years, more than
Yeah.
8 years. So, how long has it been exactly? And what do you do
15.
to keep 15? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what do you do to keep yourself rolling forward, to keep yourself challenged and feeling engaged in the next level and excited about what's to come? How do business owners out there do that in today's busy world?
There is a phrase that you taught me, and that's being a lifetime learner.
Mhm.
And if you can keep reading, if you can participate in seminars, if
Ooh,
you
that's a
can,
great question. What are
that's
you what are you learning? What are you reading right now?
well, oh, that's so funny. Well, I can't believe I'm in a book club and we're reading a Halloween book right now. So that's a terrible question. I know.
Well, it is almost Halloween.
I know. Uh I love my girls in my book club and I've been working so much. I gave myself a Halloween book.
Good for you.
I know it's something about like unusual witch club or something. But I would like to recommend a really like well, one important saying and one important book. Um, uh, oh my gosh, Simon Sinek. What is it? The
Mhm.
one with why? Teresa, you know this one.
Oh, who, not how?
I think it's starting with why or something. So,
Starting.
look it up.
Yeah.
Simon Sinek. That book's it's really great, and it's important to understand why you're doing what you're doing. It's not, and I think that's one of the things that keeps me pushing forward as well. Well, is I'm not here for like the money fit. Some people talk about the future of the firm. I'm here because I want other people to succeed. So it's kind of like a drug for me in a way because I watch these people get so fired up and I want to move on to the next one and help the people. So that's really what keeps us going. So I'm totally failing this "what are you reading now" question. But
Mhm.
I also this is a really old book, and yes, it's by Dale Carnegie, but it's Stop Worrying and Stop Living. There are a lot of different ways to diffuse the stress and the worry of being a business owner in that book. I love it. And it's just about wash today's dishes. There's a great story in it. I won't go through the whole thing, but at no time do you wash tomorrow's dishes before you use them or wash
Oh, I love
yesterday's
that.
dishes after they've been washed. Just wash today's dishes. Do well
Ah,
today
love
and then
that.
move forward one more day. What do I
Yeah.
want to do today? And that's just how, I ran, you know this, you and I used to run together. How do you get through your half marathon? Do you
Oh,
think
yeah.
I'm going to go run a half marathon today?
No, it's literally 1 mile at a time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just start with where you are, and then, when I started running, I mean, you were instantly a much better runner than I from the very beginner. But when I started running, I mean, number one, I hated running, and number two, I couldn't do it worth a lick. I mean,
You're
I just
great. You're
couldn't. I was
great.
really, really bad at running, and you're right. You just have to wash today's dishes. You just show up in whatever lousy running state you are, and you just run as far as you can. And then the next day you run a little bit further, and then the next day a little bit further. And then before you know it, you're running, amazing distances that you never thought you could do. So,
Right? I mean, if you
yeah.
say to yourself, can I run 5 more minutes? The answer is always yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Well, and that kind of goes back to your like keep it simple message too for business
Hmm.
owners, even about the numbers. But I love that, Beth. I think that it's so important for people to hear that there are simple ways to manage the stress, I think, of Thanks not just again
Yes.
business so much for ownership, tuning
Right.
into the
Right.
Momentum look at this
Right.
crazy,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
crazy,
Right.
chaotic,
Right.
truly appreciate you being here.
Right.
Like
If
never
you're a
stop
founder or
processing
entrepreneur with
world
a
that we're
story to
dealing with
share
right
and you're in the
now.
growth phase of your business, I'd love
So
to
the
hear from
fact
you.
that
Visit
you can give them a couple great reads and some places to go for that. And Dale
podcast.diamond-group.co
Carnegie,
to
as
be
long
a
as
guest. Again,
as
that's
long as that book has probably been around, and I've never read that one, so I'm going to
podcast.diamond-group.co
look
to
it
be a
up.
guest.
But
If
of
this
course, Dale
episode helped
Carnegie is
you,
known for
inspired you, or
timeless
made you think
classics.
differently, please
And
share
it
it.
kind of
Leave a
comes back
review.
below,
basics,
or hit that
doesn't it?
subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming
Focus
next.
on the day.
Remember,
right in
my
front of
mission
you.
is to spotlight stories
Wow,
and
that's
strategies
awesome.
that help
So for those
purpose-driven
business
business owners
out
grow
there,
with clarity,
again, they can find
confidence,
you
and
at
intention.
BeMoneyFit.com.
To learn more about the Diamond Group, you can go to
and they can learn all about your
diamond-group.co.
financial services.
I'm
for
Theresa
small business
Bassett.
owners.
Remember that
We're gonna
I'm
look
with
forward to
you
hearing
and
about
for
those
you.
niches.
Onward and
Here,
upward.
niches
I'll
are in
see
the
you next
riches,
time.
So I
Yeah,
definitely
right.
want to hear about those verticals, and maybe once you get a little further down the line, we can do another episode and we can talk about some of those verticals, because I think the verticals that you're endeavoring into, I'm sure they have particular financial challenges and nuances in those verticals. And I know our listeners would love to hear about that too.
Thanks, Theresa.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm excited because this is one of our very first episodes of the Momentum podcast, but I have a feeling without a doubt it's going to be one of the very best episodes.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad. Well, we will definitely direct our listeners on where they can find you, and we're also going to let as many people know about how fired up MoneyFit is to help business owners approach their finances and really stay in momentum. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.